Awesome. Thank you so much, Jen. All right. Everybody can hear me. Thumbs up.
Yep.
Sweet. All right. Well, let's go ahead and hop in. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Give me 1 second. All right. Can everybody see my screen okay?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Well, hello, everybody. My name is Taylor DeJeanette, and thank you for attending our Westonka info session and virtual site tour today. So before we get started, we're going to do some brief introductions from the forecast team and the Hennepin County Library team, just so that everybody here can familiarize themselves with who's on the project. So we're going to go around and say names, pronouns, titles, and if you're a non-voting or voting member, and then I'll go ahead and call on the next person. So on the side of forecast team, I can start first. My name is Taylor DeJeanette. I'm a project manager and arts consultant with Forecast Public Art. I'm also a non-voting member. I'm going to go ahead and popcorn it over to Jen.
Thanks, Talon. My name is Jen Krava. I'm the Director of Learning Grants and Research at Forecast Public Art. I use she, her pronouns, and I am here to facilitate with Talon. I am not a voting member.
Thank you, Jen. I'm going to go ahead and pass it to Jesse is next on my screen.
Thanks. I'm Jesse Sawyer, he, him pronouns. I'm community engagement coordinator for the library system. I am a non-voting member of the committee.
Thank you, Jesse. I'm going to pass it to Jess.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Jess Chiquette. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a senior librarian for Hennepin County Library, and I am also a project manager for public art and a voting member of the committee.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and pass it to Peggy.
Evening, everyone. Peggy Woodling here with the library. I am a project manager in our capital projects operations group, and I am a non-voting member.
Thank you, Peggy. I'm going to go ahead and pass it to Lisa.
I'm Lisa Bartels, she, her pronouns, senior project manager in design and construction for facility services with Hennepin County, and the lead project manager on the Westonka construction project.
Awesome. Thank you so much,
And
Lisa.
a non-voting member.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pass it to Heather.
There. Hello, everyone. My name is Heather Deutschlander. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the library services manager for our West Metro region, which covers West Tonka, and I am a non-voting member.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Did I miss anybody? Jess on HCL's team?
Peggy?
Oh, I think Peggy went. Okay, that must have been everybody.
Okay, yeah. Got it.
Sweet. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much, guys, for those wonderful introductions. We're going to go ahead and hop in. If anyone has any questions at any point of the presentation, please raise your hand or post it in the chat and we'll make sure to get around to it. All right, so today we'll talk a little bit about who we are and what we do at Forecast Public Art. Then we'll talk details related to our West Tonka Artist Call, such as location, eligibility, and what artists can expect during that selection process. And then we'll run through the actual application process on Submittable. And then we'll also include showing you guys what sort of materials that you guys need to submit in that application process. And then we'll end up ending with some details on our project timeline and some questions. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Forecasts. For those of you that don't know, Forecast is facilitating the selection process of an individual artist or team for our Westonka Library project. But who are we? So Forecast is a nonprofit organization started in 1978. Our organization started by artists who were just interested in working in public space. This grew from working project to project to helping others work with artists who wanted to work in public art. You can see our mission on the screen here. We activate, inspire, and advocate for public art that advances justice, health, and human dignity. All of the work that we do is through this lens, and our mission mainly helps us make decisions and focus our work. What's important to know that we do is that we do three things. And so the first thing that we do is support artists who want to work in public space. The second thing that we do is we partner and consult on public art and creative projects, sort of like today. And we offer grants to artists based in the geographical boundaries of Minnesota and the Native Nations. And lastly, we build local capacity, we gather stories, and we share research. We mainly do this through offering workshops and trainings for both artists and those commissioning artwork to help them understand best practices and how to shape their work. One of our longest running trainings is called Making It Public, and this is a very practical and tactical workshop for both artists and arts admin to help them understand how to shift their practice and where to find funding, insurance, and how to develop and respond to RFQs. We work across the nation. Here are some of the places that we work. And we have a team of about 9 consultants. So you'll notice Jen and I on these slides above. All right, so for those of you who may be watching, already know, our Westonka opportunity includes 2 sites. So the first site is our Commerce Porch. And then our second site is going to be 2 walls, which is going to be our share wall and our trash enclosure. But I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Hennepin County Library's project manager of facilities, Lisa Bartell, to talk just a little bit more about each of those sites. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. All right, Lisa, you can go ahead and take over.
And I just need to find the right screen. Okay, so I have to look at my screen, which is not where my camera is, so I'm gonna turn my face from everybody. You all have seen this document. It's included in the RFQ. I'd like to focus first on the Commerce Porch. This is a rendering of, so Commerce is referring to Commerce Boulevard. It's the east side of the building, and the side that faces the most prominent street. It's the main thoroughfare in Mound. The art location is right along this wall at the front of the building, and I would like to provide you with a little more information about what that looks like beyond what the rendering is showing. I included a project plan. This is showing the building from above. On the west side, on Bel Air, we've got a park-like setting, and the location of the Commerce Porch is right here.
Lisa, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
I don't think we're seeing what you are showing. We still see the Commerce Porch.
The Commerce Porch. Okay, so this does not work the way that Teams does. So let me stop sharing and reshare. Thank you. And no, you are not seeing what I'm trying to show. Okay. Are you seeing a floor plan?
No. Oh, not yet, but something's coming up. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Okay. So again, the property is located between Bel Air Lane and Commerce Boulevard. So the Commerce Porch is right over in this corner. And the location of the art will be, if you can see my cursor, right on this wall here. The porch is open to the sky. There's no canopy there, but the rest of the building has basically a wraparound covered porch that goes all the way around here, and you get to this corner. And I'd just like to point out that people who are standing at this corner and starting to walk this way will see your art. And my next slide. Here's a close-up of that location again. You're getting the roof up above. This is the covered portion of the roof, but there's a walkway here that leads to that. And where the highlighting is where the art is. And just a basic floor plan of the building. I wanted to point out again, the art is over in this corner. This is the multi-purpose room, and it has a glass front to it in this area. And then the exterior of the building has another curtain wall front. So from inside of the multi-purpose room, you should also be able to catch a glimpse of whatever art is provided. This is a photo of construction from today, and there is the canvas.
Whoa.
There will be paving here. You can see that the roof is open in this area. This is actually a fresh air intake. Which is the reason that we didn't want to have this wall as the canvas. What I've been saying about is you're standing at the southeast corner of the building, looking north along the walkway. This will be a walkway, and people turning that corner will see this work of art. And this is Commerce Boulevard over here where the cars are. This was a few weeks ago, but again, this opening here is all glass. This opening here will be all glass, and this is the wall that you just saw covered with plywood sheathing. So going on to opportunity 2, starting inside. The main entrance to the library is right through here. There will be a rather large entry vestibule that also serves as extended hours access for holds pickup. Patrons will go through the main entrance, through the vestibule, and the first surface that is available on the inside is right here above the self-serve desk. And then the second surface is up above the service desk. Just wanted to share with you one of the predominant features of the library is in the adult services area. You'll see this little structure here that is, it's the trunk of what we call the tree that is supporting this whole section of roof. And just to have an idea of what the character of the rest of the building is, we have the panoramic view that the architects provided, that you've got the QR code for, and are able to see there. This is just a feature that you can't see from that 360 view, but wanted to make you aware of it. Let me see if this is okay. So can you see? No. Got to stop sharing and share a different document again. Okay, that is the last of moving around from different different screens and documents. So again, the space here is up above the self-serve area and up above the service desk here. I think you probably all have explored this particular tool. The children's area is back in this space. And here is the entrance that is directly across from the self-serve area and the service desk. And off in the distance is that tree that I showed you. You just can't see it quite so well in this rendering. A little bit if you zoom in. The wall that's back here, that's your canvas, is cast in place concrete. It's a shear wall. It's major structure for the building and has what's called a bush hammered finish on it. So the aggregate that's within the concrete is exposed. And switch. And finally, there's the trash enclosure. Unfortunately, this has not gone into construction yet. It will be one of the last things to go up. And so I don't have any photos of that to share with you. It is a curved wall, as you can see here, and the wall increases in height as it moves from the north side up to the south side. And are there any questions? I just wanted everybody to have a better idea of what your canvases will be.
Lisa, this isn't a question, but might I
Yes.
say it's just really helpful to see the scale of people in these virtual site tours, just to kind of get the scale of the wall as well. It's
I
really
was hoping that would be beneficial. And then, the photos of the project under construction, I think also gives a nice sense of scale. It is a one-story building, but in the adult reading room, the roof sweeps up, and so I believe that the exterior maximum height at the top of the roof is somewhere around 30 feet. at the highest point. It's really interesting. There's just interesting geometry to the building.
Sweet. Does anyone have any questions for Lisa before we move on? All right, we're gonna go ahead and continue. Let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, can everybody see my screen okay? Awesome. All right, thank you so much for that, Lisa. Now, let's talk a little bit about eligibility and who's able to apply for this opportunity, as well as budget. So you'll notice on the RFQ, it notes that there are two available opportunities. Again, as Lisa said, there's a commerce porch, and then there's two walls. One's going to be a sheer wall, and then the other is going to be a trash enclosure. In addition to this, individual artists or teams may apply to only one opportunity. So this means you cannot apply both as an individual and on a team of other artists. The opportunity is open to mid and late career artists, and language on how we define mid and late career artists can be found within the RFQ underneath the eligibility section, I believe. Other things that are important to note here is that the opportunity is open to 2D and 3D mediums, and it's open to artists who live and work within the geographical boundaries of Minnesota. Now, looking at our budget, each opportunity has their own respective artist stipends. And so, artist stipends for opportunity one, which is going to be our commerce porch, is $60,000. And then, artist stipends for opportunity two, which is going to be our sheer wall and our trash enclosure, is going to be $75,000. It's also important to note that these stipends are intended to cover all artist wages, materials, and equipment associated with completing whichever projects that you guys applied to.
Jalen, could I request that you make your slides a little bit bigger? They're kind of hard to read.
Yeah, let me see if I can. Oh, does that work?
Yes, thank you.
Sweet, of course. All right, let me move some stuff around really quick. All right, does anyone have any questions about eligibility or budget? All right. So let's discuss now what it looks
All
like
right.
to choose. Oh, sorry.
Could I ask you one question about your last slide?
Yes.
So if you apply for one, and the committee seems to think that your work will be more appropriate for another, will you make those recommendations at the time? Okay.
Jen, would you be able to answer that question?
Yeah, you will be considered for the project that you apply for.
But you can only apply for one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's another question in the chat about opportunity two. So an artist can't just apply to the concrete shear wall, they must apply for the wall and it says mural, but I'm understanding that as the trash enclosure. Talon, is that correct?
Yes. So opportunity two, which is going to be both of those walls, which is the shear wall and the trash enclosure, come as a pair. So you wouldn't be able to apply for one or the other.
Nope, they come as a pair. So if you apply for opportunity two, you would be doing something on both the shear wall and the trash enclosure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Any more questions before we move on? All right. Sweet. All right, so let's discuss what it looks like to choose an individual artist or team for these opportunities. So we've broken the selection process up into three phases. So the first phase, which is going to take place after the RFQ closes June 14th, and the selection committee has had time to review applications, that phase is going to consist of selecting up to three artists or teams as finalists. So this means that up to six finalists can potentially be chosen. During phase two, those selected finalists are going to receive a stipend of $1,000, and that's going to cover your time and your labor for developing your design concept. So finalists are going to have about 3 to 4 weeks to develop their design concepts and put that into a short presentation. And that'll take approximately, that 3 week span is probably going to be sometime between July 27th and August 14th. So those presentations to the selection committee will need to cover several things. The first thing that it'll need to cover is your plans around budget, execution logistics. So you're going to want to think timeline. A lot of artists end up hiring extra help or assistants or contractors, or they end up doing additional community engagement. So when we talk about execution logistics, those are some of the things that you're going to want to include in that presentation. And then, of course, you're going to need an image of your design concept. If you want to provide a short narrative of your design concept, I think that that's always helpful as well. And then during our third and final phase, and since we'll potentially have up to 6 finalists, our final selection committee meeting is going to be actually split into 2 meetings. So during these final meetings, artists and teams are going to have a chance to present those presentations to our selection committees. And so, what we're going to be doing on that very last meeting, part 2, is working towards choosing one individual artist or team for each opportunity. So, after phase 3 is complete, the artist selected for each opportunity will then contract directly with Hennepin County Library. So that's kind of an overview of each of our phases. It is important to note, though, that this timeline is contingent upon the volume of submissions that we get and also how long it takes for our selection committee to review applications and the time that they feel like they need. So any questions related to our phases? See? Okay. All right, so let's review what we're asking artists to submit during the application phase. This is pretty standard across all of our RFQs, but we're asking for individual artists or teams to submit a letter of interest. That letter of interest should describe your creative approach, your proposed themes, and connection to the surrounding area or project background. Additionally, you'll need to include how you might engage stakeholders or community members to inform your final design, as well as your approach to managing and executing the project. So again, this is going to be any information that you can provide related to if you're going to hire assistants or additional consultants, if you'll need additional materials like scaffolding or a lift, et cetera, those things should be detailed as well. We're also asking artists to submit up to 5 work samples, showcasing your ability to create work at a similar scale. And then we're also asking everybody to attach an accompanying image list. And that image list should clearly label and describe each of your samples that you submitted. And then, of course, we'll need the standard bio and resume. That bio should not exceed 1 page. And then your resume, please cap it off at 3 pages if you can. Does anyone have any questions about application materials? All right, moving along. All right, so let's talk a little bit about artwork themes. So the Westonka team, who is working on the rebuild of the library, put together some very thoughtful visual considerations to help sort of guide the artwork. These are all included in the RFQ underneath the section that's titled Artwork Sites and Visions. Please keep in mind that these are just considerations, and our recommendation to you guys is that you carefully review them and you do your best to take them into consideration when describing your creative approach in that letter of interest. So let's look at some of these considerations here. I'll go through just a few of them. So some of the considerations for opportunity 1, which again is going to be our commerce porch, is that pieces honor indigenous histories and relationships to land, stewardship, and seasonal knowledge. Art that reveals invisible systems such as pollination, water cycles, soil life, migrations, or work that match light, shadows, changing how the space feels at different times of the day. Some of the considerations for opportunity 2, this is going to be our sheer wall and our trash enclosure. are pieces that introduce key themes of the library, such as knowledge, story, nature, memory, or community, as well as opportunities that draw visitors into the space and fit the natural surroundings of the building. So again, we just ask that you guys take these into consideration when you're describing that creative approach in your letter of interest. Does anyone have any questions about that? Sweet. All right. Now, additionally, our team shared a mixture of artworks ranging from 2D to 3D mediums with the selection committee. These artworks were shared to sort of shape the visual themes and criteria that they're looking for in phase two. That phase two is going to include, again, reviewing finalist designs. So we'll quickly kind of go through some of these examples, and it'll give you sort of a sense of what they're hoping to see in those finalist design concepts. We typically like to do this because we want artists to know firsthand what the community values and what they're sort of excited to see in the opportunity. So keep in mind that these are all just examples, but I do think that you guys knowing this up front will help you create stronger submissions. So I'm going to go ahead and briefly click through these. Here is images that we showed for Opportunity One, and I actually saw Greg Mueller in our room. So shout out to Greg Mueller. This is amazing artwork.
Thank you.
This one's really cool as well. All right, and then I believe we have some artworks to show for Opportunity as well, Opportunity Two as well. So this is going to be our trash enclosure and our concrete wall. This is actually a past project that we just wrapped up, I believe, last year with Kata at the Avon Fraser Library. Go check it out if you guys have some time. Another one from Stasia Goodman. This is at Sumner Library. All right, so those are some of the themes that we identified as being high valued from the selection committee. So these themes that I'm about to go over should be expanded upon in your finalist design concepts. If you want to expand on them in your letter of interest, I think that that's okay too, but these are mostly reserved for those finalist designs. Something that's important to mention too is that there is a community engagement report at the end of the RFQ. That community engagement report shows data collected from a survey, I believe that it was, asking what histories and stories were unique and important to the local area. I believe that there was around 37 community members who responded to that. So when you get a chance to review that, please look at it. I'll also drop it in the chat at the end of our, or Jen, if you're able to drop it in the chat too, that would be awesome. That community engagement report. I can't. Yeah. All right, so our recommendation is that artists or teams demonstrate a very clear connection between these artwork themes above and the community engagement report findings and that finalist design concept. So additionally, also, we'll make sure to drop a link of that forecast call to on our website at the bottom too. But just to go over some of these themes here that are also named in the RFQ, artwork should feel welcoming, engaging, and reflective of the project's vision and public setting. It should reflect stewardship, sustainability, environmental care, and connection to nature. Uh-oh, does somebody have a question? Okay, sweet.
Nope, that's just me.
It should draw from local context, Minnesota identity, indigenous histories, and culturally specific community narratives. Visual style should also be culturally vibrant, thoughtful, accessible, while creating lasting impact within a public environment and community. We recommend going through each of those artwork themes so that you have a very clear idea what those finalist designs should sort of embody. Does anybody have any questions about those artwork themes or how they came about? All right. All right, so we're gonna do just a super quick submittable tutorial. I am going to briefly show everybody what it looks like to submit an application through our submittable site. So you'll notice at the bottom of our RFQ, there is a submit here link. If you're applying via the RFQ or via Forecast website, there's a direct link that'll take you to submittable as well. And so once you get here, you'll see a page like this. You'll want to scroll down to our opportunity. If you want to apply for any of these other opportunities as well, that is great. You will see more information that is also located in the RFQ on how to apply and what should be in your application. So again, it should be that letter of interest. There's some language here describing what should be in that letter of interest. Your bio, that shouldn't exceed 1 page or 300 words. Your resume, that should not exceed 3 pages. And then your work samples, which are going to be 5, and then your image list as well. And there are clear directions here for what should be included in your image list. And so the how to submit details are also here. What you're going to do is put in name, address, city information, et cetera, et cetera. What I recommend is developing that PDF that holds your letter of interest, bio, et cetera, somewhere else. Whether you do that on Google Docs, whether you do that on PowerPoint presentation or Word, it doesn't matter. I would construct it somewhere else and then choose a file and go ahead and upload from your computer, wherever that might be. And then you can go ahead and press that submit button and it should feed you back an automated message. If you guys have any questions, my email is posted at the bottom of that RFQ as well. Does anyone have any questions about what that process looks like of submitting an application?
Sorry, I've never used Submittable before. I'm assuming, and I've lost my voice, I'm assuming that the PDF should include your images as well.
Yes, absolutely. And you brought up a good point as well. You're going to want to make an account on Submittable as well too, which should be free. Right now, I'm functioning off of Jen's account. Sorry, Jen, but you're going to want to go ahead and make an account. Super simple. I believe it's just name, email, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm sorry, go ahead, Mickey.
And you would prefer to have, as opposed to the image with the information on it, you want image, 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 and then image list.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Does anyone have any other questions on application process? All right. Sweet. All right, let's go back a little bit. Here is our actual RFQ. So this is also in web format on Forecast's website. That RFQ holds information on Hennepin County Library, project background. It has a little bit about the rebuild budget. We already walked through our artwork sites and vision. These are some of the considerations that you're going to want to put in that letter of interest. And then as we get further down, it'll talk a little bit about eligibility, the info session that we're having today, yay, and then our selection process. And then it'll have a little bit of information here as well on timeline. And then at the very bottom, there is this hyperlink here that'll take you to our submittable site as well. And then at the bottom of this RFQ, you're going to see additional information on the site. So this is some of the stuff that Lisa went through today. And then you're also going to see that community engagement report that we mentioned as well. And then you're also going to see a sample contract. So as you guys know, as we get past phase 3, you're going to directly contract with HCL. This is an example contract of what that would look like. Does anyone have any questions about what's in the RFQ? All right, moving along. All right, so we're going to go ahead and end with our timeline. So we had our info session today. Woo, amazing. The RFQ opened officially May 13th and it will be closing June 14th. So I think that we have about 2 more weeks. After that, we are going to move into phase 1, which is going to be the selection of finalists. Maybe phase 2. I might have that wrong. Either way, we're going to be selecting finalists sometime the week of July 16th. Finalists will be notified the week of July 24th. And then from there, finalists will have about 3 weeks. So from July 27th to August 14th to prep those finalists, design concepts and presentations. Finalists are going to be working directly with me to make sure that you guys have all what you need in those presentations. So during that time, please do not hesitate to reach out if you're wanting a quick review of your presentation, et cetera, et cetera. From there, we will have a 2-part final selection committee meeting, and that's going to take place sometime in August. At that final selection committee meeting, our intention is to choose finalists, but for whatever reason, if we need additional time, we'll make sure to reach out to you guys and let you know. And then from there, we will notify our 2 recipients for each of our opportunities by August 28th. And then you will be contracting directly with Hennepin County Library. All right. I'm going to go ahead and open it up for any questions.
I have a question.
Yeah.
The Commerce porch wall, you said there's an option to do a 3D piece in front of it. I assume there's concrete surface below that can withstand a sculptural element, and there's no requirement, say, for a special footing below that.
So I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Jen or Lisa, I believe that for the Commerce porch wall, we have a landing of a couple of feet that would be appropriate for you to do your
Yeah.
sculpture. Let me see.
Yeah,
See,
Talon, do you want to?
may I add?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
I mean, it is a small footprint. If you are concerned about the weight, so there are footings below the concrete slab, but if it is something that's very heavy, the artist would be responsible for the engineering to ensure that everything is that what exists will support your piece of art.
Right.
There is not a specific footing directly underneath the footprint to support something very heavy. So if that helps any. And I did want to also clarify that the wall, the vertical surface that's behind that, if you're thinking of attaching to it or just want to understand what that background is, it is an arbor wood, so a thermally modified wood siding that's on the back of that. And I forgot to tell you that the trash enclosure is similar to the interior shear wall, which is kind of one of the reasons that these were grouped together, I think. That whole curved wall is a cast in place concrete wall as well.
And then
So
Greg, oh, sorry, Lisa, go ahead.
yeah. So, when you're also thinking about how you're attaching your artwork to those surfaces, you won't be allowed to paint directly onto the surface. Whatever it is needs to be attached. If it's, again, heavy, you'll need to make sure that you're providing some submittals, and if engineering anywhere is needed, that's coming out of your stipend, your award.
Okay.
Got you. And then Greg, I was going to add within that RFQ underneath artwork sites and vision, there's measurements for what that base would need to be right in front of the commerce area. So it's going to have to be 3 by 6 feet. It cannot exceed that.
Right. Got it. No, I wouldn't foresee anything ultra heavy. Yeah. Okay. And then behind that arbor wood, is there what's the arbor wood attached to, or is it just?
So the image that I showed,
Yeah.
it shows the sheathing, the plywood sheathing that the arbor wood is attached to.
Okay.
Off the top of my head, I can't tell you if there's, some sort of furring in between, metal furring clips. There's an attachment system. I'd have to dig into the plans to get that detail. But those details are things that we can provide to you as finalists. If you really want some of them beforehand, we can do that. I think you probably don't need it until you're at the finalist stage, but as artists, your work, and if you need that, just ask for it.
Oh, that's all helpful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
On the site number 2, I know you've got interior and exterior. So if you were working in glass, is there any consideration? Obviously, outdoor glass versus indoor glass, it's a different, can be a similar application, but is there consideration of, I suppose, the potential vandalism of exterior glass? Or I noticed that you showed a lot of mosaic. Is that the material that you're leaning toward? Can you talk about the material you're thinking? I mean, I think it was all mosaic on the piece
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, of course. Again, those are just examples that we showed the committee in order for us to establish some artwork themes. I wouldn't say by any means that those are actual examples that we're hoping to then artists to replicate for those surfaces. As it as it pertains to the difference in material for glass, Lisa, I'm not sure if we're leaning towards one or the other. I think that we're kind of just leaving it up to the artist to decide what feels best for preference. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't think that we've designated specific materials. Do keep in mind, though, no, we're Hennepin County. Your tax dollars are paying for the maintenance of the buildings. And so if you're thinking of a material for the exterior where you're concerned about, oh, it might get broken, it's going to require regular cleaning, that type of thing, just know that, the non-voting members of the selection committee will be voicing those same concerns. So it might be better to avoid media that will be high maintenance for the exterior, because budget for maintaining that could be problematic. Will probably be problematic.
I'll just add that part of why there were several mosaics was because, like Lisa said, you will not be able to paint directly onto the wall. It will have to be attached in some way.
I have a quick question. I'm wondering, like, because there is something on the what you need to submit in order, if you're interested. And one of the things is include how you may engage stakeholders, community members to inform the final design. So does this project or any part of the project need to include community members or community built or like surveys, or is there anything for the artist that needs to be done in order to, because I know you have that survey that you did, but like, so basically, let me just back up. What I'm asking is, like, when it comes to the artwork in itself, does any of it need to be community involved? So as far as like in the creation, or as far as like involving them and knowing how this is going to be made and everything. That's my question.
Yeah, that's not a requirement
Okay.
of the RFQ. Um, I believe that if you guys wanted to do community engagement, we are asking for that. The community report that was done definitely adds a couple of layers that you guys could use for your application process, but we are asking for additional community engagement. How you choose to do that is something between you and Hennepin County Library.
Yeah, so through the RFQ, we just want to get an idea of how you approach community engagement. How have you done it before? Maybe what are some of your values around it? Um, would you be able to use something like that in this process? And then as a finalist, part of your design concept would be to share more details about what that community engagement part looks like. We're not prescribing that it has to be that community members help make it or that they're, we're not prescribing how they need to be engaged. We want to hear from you how you would engage them.
Thank you.
Any more questions for us?
I also just want to say this is not your only time to ask questions. Talon is available. So, I'm really good at being in a meeting and then leaving and being like, why didn't I ask this question? You can send that question to Talon. I dropped her email address in the chat. And it's also on the RFQ and on the website link that I dropped here too. So if you don't know what your questions are now and you come up with some later, do not hesitate to reach out.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming to our info session and virtual site tour.
We will make a copy of this recording available to everybody who registered, so you'll get an email from us with this, and then we'll post it on our website as well. Thanks for your interest. Excited to see your applications.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.